Good morning, good morning, good morning. What is up, everybody? Happy Thursday. It is January 30th. JTW here with another Xtrades FOMO live stream. Hope you all are ready to get after it. I'm just finishing getting my chart set up, so give me just a moment so I can make sure that we have all of our trade plan recaps queued up and ready to go. Actually, this one needs to be HR. All right, cool. I think that covers all of our I should say, trade plans. So there we go. All right. So hope everybody is doing well this morning. Let me get over to the ES chart. Let me also turn off that volume there so you guys aren't hearing all the beeps and bloops and stuff from my computer. All right. So taking a look at things here on ES, and then we will get to our trade plan recaps. We've got a lot to go through, and then obviously we will get to your ticker requests. What is up, Unknown Reviews? Good to see you. Good morning. Hope you're enjoying the Xtrades Discord. We'll take a look at team for you. We'll also do your recap of the DHR plan that you requested. Let's close that. All right, screen sharing's good, audio's good everywhere. Stream is live on YouTube. I haven't brain farted or missed anything yet, so all right, good start. What's up, Trading Dad? Good to see you in the mix. Good morning to you. All right, so what are we looking at here on ES? Things are generally looking good, starting to recover after the whole deep seek debacle, I guess is what we'll call it. Again, that continues to kind of play out, I would say, almost as expected. Lots of holes being poked in a lot of the claims that were being made, which is, again, not too surprising with it coming out of, China. It's a little bit hard to kind of put too much weight into any kind of news or data or information that's coming out of China, especially when it comes to, anything that could be kind of considered almost, part of the AI arms race. And the example that I know we've talked about in the Xtrades Discord, and I have personal experience with. In fact, I was fortunate enough one day to I happened to be in puts on a ticker. It probably still exists. I don't know if I think it's probably being traded on the OTC markets, if it's being traded at all. Luckin Coffee, used to be LK. That one, turned out that like every piece of data that was coming out essentially saying that they were gonna, not only take over business in China, but come after, Starbucks in the US next. And they were just absolutely killing the game. Turns out it was all a bunch of smoke and mirrors, right? So starting to see some signs of that with this whole deep seek thing. But taking a look at ES futures and trying to get our bearings as far as how the market's looking after coming down and testing that demand zone that we talked about on Tuesday, which held and has pushed us higher from there ever since. We also had FOMC yesterday, which, they held rates steady. So still a pause on any rate cuts. No surprises there whatsoever. There was a 99% chance of that happening, according to what the bond markets were saying. And overall, I think kind of no real deviation from what their message has been, which is it's going to be data driven. We're still going for a 2% mandate, maximum unemployment. I mean, we all can kind of repeat most of Powell's talking points verbatim as far as the stuff that he delivers in those kind of speeches before he gets into the Q&A section of those press conferences. So again, overall, really no surprises coming out of FOMC. Market has continued to recover and tries to push higher. I do note that we are rejecting this gap down here on S&P futures. Would like to see that gap fill and things continue higher for us to potentially come up and test this supply zone overhead. So keep an eye on this 6102 level. I'm sure we probably talked about it on Tuesday's live stream as being a key resistance. Again, getting into that gap here on ES is going to be a little bit of a challenge, I think. But once it gets in, I do expect that gap to fill. And then, that will be the really, for me, a big indicator as far as how bullish the market wants to be right now. As far as if it continues to push higher once we fill that gap, which takes us up to about 61.28, or if it decides to reject and pull back and start retesting some supports. Again, that would be okay as long as those supports hold. But if the market's kind of really kind of kick things into, you know, second or third gear as far as bullishness goes and try to start putting some, you know, significant new all-time highs, we're going to need to continue through that gap. So how overall China ETFs looking, if you track those as well? You know, I didn't, wait, EFTs or ETFs? I think you mean ETFs probably, right? And I don't even, what would be a Chinese ETF? I really kind of only am familiar with Chinese, you know, individual names like, you know, Baba, Baidu, all the yin. Yeah, I don't know anything about them. I never look at them. Honestly, I didn't know they exist. I kind of remember that now. Isn't there also like a Yang that's like a short ETF or something? Yin and Yang? Is that not correct? Now that you mention it, I couldn't think of it off the top of my head, but now that you said that, I kind of do think I do know what those are. I just totally forgot I knew about them. Yeah, China Bull 3X, and isn't there also a Yang? Yeah, Bear 3X. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know anything about them. If you want to take a look at one of those as one of our ticker requests, let's take a look. But yeah, it looks like there is a Yin and Yang. Yin being the bullish 2x or what was it, 2x or 3x ETF, and Yang being the bearish 3x ETF. So FXI, China large. Oh yeah, there you go. That's probably a little bit more of like a standard ETF. So I mean, if there's one of those that you guys want me to do as a trade plan, you know, pick one or give a thumbs up if somebody's already mentioned one, so I kind of know what everybody's gravitating toward, and we'll do one of those for a trade plan. But I don't know anything about them, honestly. I never look at them. I just, as soon as Israel said, you know, yen, I remember that I did know something about them, but off the top of my head it wasn't coming to me. All right, so let's get to our trade plan recaps. We kind of, I think, hit the highlights there on ES. So we'll start off with Boeing. Again, this one was from the member selected tickers from over the weekend. We did see it hold the put entry going into Tuesday, and then Tuesday it absolutely pumped all the way through PT2 and then sold off real hard all the way back to the put entry. Did catch a really nice bounce there off that and moved all the way to PT1 going into yesterday's open. So really nice move if you kind of re-engineer these levels. Again, I recommended that countless times on these streams. You know, 173.93 took it all the way up to 182.52. So, you know, almost a $10 move on a quick overnight swing there would have paid handsomely if you took that opportunity. Overall, hard rejection from that level, though, did break down below, did give us some back testing of the put entry. So this thing's really starting to show some signs of near-term bearishness. All the indicators here on NTS are flipping bearish. It does have the couple of the SMAs here, the 200 and the 333 sitting right below on the hourly. They are still inverted, but the 200's trying to cross over that 333. But again, I'd say even still, everything kind of has a bearish tone to it on BA right now, especially if it can't break back above 177.25. I think we'll need to see some of these downside targets hit before it starts to bounce and recover any further. So keep an eye on BA, but overall trade plans played out nicely so far. We'll take a look at Meta next. Intel, sure, what's up, YB Skater? Good to see you. Meta was next on our member selected trade plans from over the weekend. Let's take a look at this one. Let's zoom in a little bit. This might be more, in fact, maybe I'll start doing this more. This will probably be more helpful to folks to really kind of get a look at this. I know we talked about this a little bit on Tuesday's live stream, but broke out, gave us the PT1 touch, then came back down to that stop loss average down from the call side of the trade plan, and is absolutely just pumped from there. Got all the way to PT3, almost just shy of going into the following day. Again, these are all fib extension levels, so you know these are at least at that point in time when we set up this trade plan, which was on Sunday evening of last week. You know, we've these are all levels that had never been tested before. So we're projecting those potential resistances. I think accuracy wise, they've played out pretty well, you know, a little shy on that resistance tap, but then we start to see it here cleaning up and really showing signs of support and resistance going through that little stretch there. They also reported earnings last night that ripped it quite a bit higher. It has been in, or was in, where are these trend lines coming from? I don't know what those, why I even had those trend lines on there. I probably lost track of those. They're probably from a long time ago. So I'm going to ignore that. So anyway, big move up on that earnings report last night, kind of settling down here at up 2%. But overall, again, all upside targets hit, levels worked well, especially, gosh, what a catch if you played that stop loss average down or added to your position that you might have already been in off that 643.90 touch. I mean, it's just been nothing but onward and upward since then. They have ER. Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at that. That's good to know. Thank you very much, Leafin. So we've got Google also on our member selected trade plans. This one's, again, kind of for me, still been a no trade. It gapped down below PT2 and hit all of our targets before we could even do anything with it going into Monday's open due to the DeepSeek news that came out. It's been recovering and kind of on a pretty decent uptrend since then, but it is coming into kind of some key selling pressures, especially with this potential first back test of 199.05. Neptune showing lots of bearishness up in that range as well. So, you know, Google still looking a little rough. 199.05 could be a good area to short if the market's looking toppy. And then, you know, see what happens from there. What's up, Michael? Good morning. How are you? Look at PEP. Yeah, I'll try to take a look at it. Good to see you, though. Glad you're here. Appreciate you joining on the YouTube side of things. All right, let's get to our trade plans from Tuesday's live stream. We did DraftKings. We are also currently in a DraftKings call position. It is coming up and testing what I was expecting to be our first target on this. I went ahead and took this entry here on Tuesday as it pulled back into this bullish trend ribbon and looked like it wanted to bounce higher. We did see it drop down to our stop loss average down 200 SMA confluence there yesterday, but we held, that held, everything looked good. As far as the trade plan goes, it is rejecting this first key resistance here at 42.43 pre-market. This was kind of my first target with this taking profit right there, but overall looking for 44.53 longer term. But you know, depending on what our percent returns are, we might scale one or two out here at 42.43. Also with Neptune kind of showing some resistance there, but this is something that I'm working on. I've got some updates coming for Neptune where I'm trying to put in a slight little bit of a buffer. I feel like this moving average is just barely off, and I'm also looking at possibly doing something that will kind of automatically adjust based on sort of a volatility reading that I'm working on. So anyway, some stuff coming on that totally separate, but this could still be a bullish flag. Right now the bearishness is kind of showing where it should be, but 42.43 is also a key resistance that we already had on watch. So it could be either of those two things, or it could be a confluence. NVIDIA, also from the member selected, or no, I'm sorry, this was one that we did on Tuesday's live stream, and I've got this one actually set up on the recap chart. So let's go to that real quick, actually, so we can, easier to see. So again, we did this one on Tuesday's live stream. It rejected the call entry shortly, right going into the open, dipped down to PT1 for puts, bounced from there, got all the way up to PT3 for calls. So again, if you took the call entry here on Tuesday as it made that recovery, or you know, if you kind of flipped from puts to calls with that nice kind of liquidity sweep below, especially when you see these kind of moves on one of our key levels. If you see a liquidity sweep right below and then it kind of opens up and continues up from there. I'm going to hide this real quick. Whoops, I wanted to hide this one. You see this little liquidity sweep below, and then it ultimately holds that support. That's a really key sign that they just grabbed a bunch of liquidity and it's going to try to make a move higher off of this price target. So kind of a quick tip there. But yeah, that little liquidity sweep below would have been a nice signal to go ahead and grab calls somewhere, you know, on this continuation candle back to the upside. But even if you missed that, we did get the clean break above, pretty close to getting a back test here on the 5-minute, and pushed all the way up to PT3 from there. Has pulled back since, got another breakout there after hours yesterday. I think it was following one of the earnings reports yesterday, but pulled back a little bit, and seems to be struggling with getting through some of these higher resistance levels now. So keep an eye on NVIDIA, still looking good, also pulling back into the range of our trade plan that was posted in the Elite Options chat, or the Elite Xtrades chat, whatever it's called, as well as you can rewatch the whole plan as we laid it out if you watch the replay of Tuesday's live stream. Soundhound, this one is finally giving us an opportunity to the upside, it looks like. Let's take a look at this on the 15-minute real quick. So again, we did this plan Tuesday. Ultimately, it pulled back. Seems to be consolidating inside of these levels on the bearish flag for NTS, but is breaking above the 200 SMA. Looks like it's trying to hold that as support, still above the call entry. So this one's kind of looking interesting if it can get moving, especially if it can get over 14, call it 50. This one could try to make a move quite a bit higher. Could also wait for that 333 SMA to clear out, but at some point you gotta take some risk and get an entry in there. So Soundhound looking good to potentially push to the upside, but a little bit of turbulence still there. DHR, this one was for unknown reviews, one of his ER catalyst requests. Let's see, we did this one Tuesday morning. Let's take a look at this on the 15-minute. I want to see. So it did, that's interesting. How did we have, were we looking at this on regular trading hours maybe? Yeah, I'm guessing we did do this on regular trading hours chart. So if we look at that through this lens, again, we did this Tuesday morning. I'm not sure why that didn't move over, but it's whatever. So we opened up above the call entry, but immediately dipped below with really no signs of support happening. So then it played into the trade plan levels. Ultimately, it was kind of a no trade from the looks of it, going into that earnings report, and then the ER took it down to PT3 plus for puts. So I don't know if or I should say if, and if so, how helpful that trade plan was. I know reviews, but hopefully you made money on the trade. All right, I think that gets us through all of our recaps. So let's get to some of these new trade plan requests. Unknown reviews was in here bright and early with team, and then some requests for yen, FXI, yen. I got 2 votes for yen, so we'll take a look at yen, and then we'll also try to take a look at Intel and UPS. All right, so team, what is team? Atlassian. Not super familiar with them. What did they do? Providing team collaboration, productivity software, Confluence, Chia, Loom. Don't know anything about these guys or their platforms, so that's okay. All right, so let's take a look at this. Okay, we'll leave it on extended hours for now. Actually, let me look at one thing. Nah, we're going to use regular trading hours for this. I was kind of leaning that way. Things look a lot cleaner through this lens. All right, so yeah, again, this is one I've never really looked at, not super familiar with. All I need is a chart though, so indicators for just a little bit here. Looks like a little bit of a bull flag breakout trying to take place. All right, let's see. What do we got here on team? Be surprised if we need levels any lower than down here, so we'll kind of use that as the basement. Upside. Probably around there. I'll be surprised if we need anything higher, so we'll just focus on staying within those guardrails, like that level. They're behind Confluence and Jira. Yeah, I'm not super familiar. Jira sounds familiar. And it's an interesting chart. What's their volume, by the way? I did scroll right past that. pretty low, but in the millions. So not like untradably low. This is questionable, but I think possibly a good level to keep on watch. Definitely going to watch this one. Yeah, that looks pretty decent. It's a really interesting topping right in here. Yeah, I was looking at that area and lost sight of it as I was going back and forth for a second. That's interesting, but not confirmed yet. Yeah, this level too. All right. Got it, Wrinkle Man. Yeah, any coding or scripting or anything I've ever done has been totally as a hobbyist. My IT is more networking and administration and IT director level stuff, so I'm not even all that hands on anymore. I try to stay hands on and keep up with things, but a lot of it's just become managing people more than people and processes more than being overly in the weeds, but still got to know what best practices are and make sure that you know how to steer your teams in the right direction. So, all right, I like all that. All right, let's get, oh, actually, we're going to do this on the daily. Sorry. Okay, so let's clear up these couple of levels real quick. I think they're probably going to wind up being daily levels. We'll see. But yeah, I like playing around with programming. You guys have seen what I've done with Neptune, and man, I've started playing around with it. Not started. I've been using ChatGPT for quite a while, but I've just been kind of all over the place the last couple of months. A lot of that with travel and just social calendar stuff, and then trying to get 2025 kind of off to the races and on the right foot. But finally jumped back into some ChatGPT stuff a couple of evenings this week. And their new platform is incredibly impressive. The 1.0 or whatever it is, I forget what it's called. I've got whatever their premium membership is. But really, really cool stuff. And I'm very impressed with some of the ideas it's already come up with for some of these updates that I'm going to write for Neptune. But a lot of it before was written before ChatGPT, and that was months and months and months of learning PineScript and calculations and all this other stuff. So it's always been of interest to me, and I started technically writing HTML back in middle school. So I've got it's something that just has always kind of made sense to me. Once I start to learn the ins and outs, I pick it up quickly. But again, it's never been like I've never had to manage a team doing software development. It's just not where I wound up for whatever reason. What's up, Tony? Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I like that. All right. Sorry, I'm getting into the weeds, and I'm also kind of just making sure that we've got all these key levels mapped out while we're talking. All right. I think this looks pretty good to get us rolling. Windsurf editor. I'll take a look at that, Ringle Man. ChatGPT is pretty cool. It's a lot of it comes down to, like, I actually wrote, which is, if you know coding, start playing around with like building your own GPTs, because it's crazy. because it's all natural language. You don't even have to learn code. Yeah, I haven't messed with Copilot much, but I've heard good things. I mean, all that's really ultimately just based on ChatGPT, isn't it? So I would expect it to be, you know, kind of equivalent or as good as. All right. Okay. All right. So let's get this trade plan underway. Let's see. 281, 271, 274. There's that rejection there at 288.57. The question I have is, do things really open up above that? Sorry, let's get this moving a little quicker. Yeah, it does give it an opportunity to move higher. All right. We're going to need to see, if we're going to play this plan this way that I'm kind of thinking so far, we're going to need to see if there's a good stop loss. I mean, this weekly level kind of will probably keep us close to a 1-to-1. And it's sort of the stop loss I'm eyeballing right now, but I'd like to have one that's a little tighter if there's one there. We're not going to create one just to have one that's tighter. Here, yeah, that's kind of interesting. Take profits just a little bit earlier on this PT3. All right, so yeah, there's probably not going to be. Let's see how this situates us. If this keeps us at least at a 1-to-1, I think we're okay. Well, whoops, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Yeah, it's right there, so we'll go with it. Like that upside trade plan. Again, 1-to-1, so generally speaking, 1-to-1 is start small, scale in. I see Outlaw in the mix. I'll be working with him later on this evening, but he knows exactly what I'm talking about. We just talked about that a little bit during our mentoring this past weekend. And hopefully, as you're watching this stuff, you're starting to see exactly what's up, man. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hopefully, as you're watching this, you're starting to see a lot of what we practiced and went over in our mentoring session. Hopefully, what I'm doing right now is just starting to make a lot more sense versus maybe how you were seeing things prior to our mentoring session. But yeah, looking forward to catching up with you and getting through some more education this evening for sure. All right, so we've got that weekly level there. The only question is, do we want to adjust this stop loss and give it a little more room? Good stuff, man. That's, you know, I practice what I preach. Yeah, we're going to give this a little bit more room on this downside trade plan. I think it's appropriate. So let's take a look at our risk reward there real quick. 1.4, pretty good. All right, so let's throw the indicators on. Let's make sure that we haven't missed anything. Decent confluence down there. Some potential buying pressure a little earlier than expected than PT1 there. So that'll be interesting to keep on watch. That all looks okay. Yeah, there's our real confluence there on the 30-minute. It really adds up or lines up with both of those things. So, yep, I think we'll leave everything right where it is. Again, potential issues there on the hourly, but I think it'll be okay. Everything else is showing us that we should have room down to that PT1. So, Whoops, didn't mean to hit that. Here is the team live stream plan. It's a plural. What's up, David? Good to see you. Good morning over on the YouTube side of things. Hope you're doing well. Sorry, I'm trying to look at so many screens and do so many things all at once. Okay, so let's talk through this team live stream plan. Again, remember earnings after hours today, so be very, very careful getting into this and swinging anything overnight. But what we're looking for on team is a break below 265. That should give us targets at 255.85, 248.42, and 239.20 with a stop loss average down at 271.68 for the downside plan. To the upside, we're looking for a break above 281.42 with targets at 288.57, 299.95, and 311.32 with a stop loss average down at 274.58. Those are your team live stream plans. Let's go. All right, so we had yen up next. Didn't have much on puts though. Good. All right, so, but you did well on it. That's what I was saying good about. Let's take a look at yen. A couple of people interested in it. This is the 2x bullish China ETF. We will look at this one on the extended hours chart because this one is actually probably mostly an extended hours trader. All right, but again, not one I've ever charted. Let's hide these for a second. Don't really need those right now. I just need to see price action. Let's go. Yeah, definitely something there. I'm going to try to go through this as rapid fire as I can. Oops, wait a second. I might have gotten ahead of myself there. Really? Guys, this just opened up. Well, it is a leveraged ETF, so I'm not surprised it's been kind of a... Jesus H. This thing's like in the basement. Getting ready to be in the sub-basement. Getting ready to be in hell. All right. Yeah, I'm not... Sorry. Got a little ahead of myself with this one level here. I think there's going to be something there. Might need to wait to see that on the... So, just a placeholder for now. Something. And again, these Chinese tickers could be a little harder to chart support and resistance wise because they do trade so heavily outside of even our extended hour session. So put that in the for what it's worth category. Just makes it a little trickier. Kind of maybe have to give a little bit more leeway, wiggle room. Things might not be quite as clean as I'd like to see normally as far as the touches and reactions to certain price levels. So, things you learn over time. Lots of resistance, no real support there. So that's another one that we'll just kind of keep on watch. I think that also probably gets us into good enough shape on this weekly chart. Actually, I'd take that back maybe. Yeah, I think there's something right there possibly. Lots and lots of resistance there, but again, nothing confirmed yet. All right, so let's clean up these placeholders, see if we can't get an idea of where these really want to be at. Yeah, that looks pretty good now. Let's take a look at these other ones. Kind of expected this one to prove out here on the daily chart. Just not really seeing it yet. So that could be a 4-hour level would be my guess. I do like this one though. Now that we've got that extra information there. All right, I'm going to zoom way out here. Don't try this at home, folks. It's kind of harder to map these levels out, but I sort of need this perspective with how this thing moves. Normally, I would be looking much closer. KT, I will try to take a look at CLS, but that's going to be... I had somebody else ask about that recently, actually. What is CLS? Do you mind giving me a quick... I feel like when I went and looked at it, I was like, oh, that's what it is, and I've already forgotten again. All right, I do want to check the floor. Celestica, and what do they do, if you don't mind me asking? And why is it... I've had a few people ask about it, so is there like something going on with it that makes it particularly interesting right now? That would also be good to know. I do like that as a 4-hour level right there. All right, I'm going to kind of fast forward this a little bit. Just go to the hourly, up $20 pre-market. Okay. Oh, that's right. I think somebody was talking about it last night. Did it kind of overall pump last night after hours? I think that's why it sounds familiar now. Somebody mentioned like it made that big move after hours, I think, yesterday. Yeah, I can try to take a quick look at it, but I mean, what I would say, just kind of a real quick take on that, if it's moved $20 pre-market, I'm not chasing it. I mean, you know, if you weren't in, don't FOMO, right? I mean, I know we call this the FOMO live stream, but we call it because not joining these streams is the only thing you should fear of missing out on. Man, this thing is all over the place, but again, that's typical Chinese price action: gap up, gap down, gap up, gap down, and then with the 2x leverage on this thing, that's even more magnified. So some of this is really reading between the lines on some of these levels. Okay, I'll try to take a quick look at it. All right. Oh, wait. Is NBIS a separate ticker? I thought NBIS was like, no, but I'm saying. What? Is that what is NBIS no, but I'm saying, or is NBIS a ticker? Oh, okay. I thought you were saying no, but I'm saying, bro, don't miss out on charting CLS. Sorry, I've gotten into like, I'm trying to speak more millennial or Gen Y or whatever they are. Okay, so let's see. Yen, going to be a tough one here, I think, to really get actionable trades on, but we're going to take a shot at it. This maybe needs a little adjusting, I think. All right. So that looks like a PT1. That looks like a PT2. PT3. There's definitely something happening right around this level. So stop loss, I think, is going to need to be in here, thereabouts. Yeah, recent price action also agrees. So that's the upside, downside. Could get... Sorry. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do with this. All right. I think we've got, whoops, an opportunity here. Oh, that's fine, actually. That's right where I want that. So what I'm thinking, take this as our entry, share the stop loss, PT1 there, PT2 is going to be a fill in the blanks level, I'll bet. Yeah, got something sitting right here. And again, some of this is just me very much reading between the lines and trying to sort of decipher what's happening in spite of these gaps. So, like I said, a little trickier to trade. Gosh, get your words out, bro. A little trickier to chart these Chinese names. I've never tried to, as you can see, try to chart one that's a leveraged Chinese ETF, but you know, I'll never back down from a challenge either. So, all right, let's see what NTS is showing us. Okay, I like where that's all sitting. Okay, cool. So let's talk about this, and then let's take a quick look at some of these other tickers that you guys have dropped into the mix. This is our yen trade plans. Yes, I'm still in the pins call, of course. We just opened it yesterday, plenty of time, and it was doing all the right things, moving in the right directions for us. It looked like it was, it's ready for a breakout. That's what it looks like to me. That's why I took a shot at it. All right, so there's yen trade plans there, yen trade plans here. Let's post it in the elite chat. All right. So what are we looking for here on yen? We're looking for a break over 32.77. That should give us targets at 34.64, 36.63, and 38.24 with a stop loss average down at 31.66. To the downside, we're waiting for a break below 30.96. That should give us targets at 29.46, 27.96, and 26.29 with a stop loss average down at 31.66. Those are your yen trade plans. All right, let's take a quick look at, okay, we've got some ticker requests over here that I'll try to take a quick look at in the live stream, but we do need to wrap this up like in the next 3 minutes so I can get the SPY plan and the alerts on it taken care of. All right, so UPS was, they just got their ass beat on earnings report. UPS, I would say don't, 3-day rule, probably don't touch it. Let's see if where it's trying to bounce, though, is a significant support level. If it is, it's probably going to be a higher time frame support. Let's go to the 24 hours so we can see where that's actually sitting. So it's trying to hold down here. This isn't a level. I'm just going to mark a placeholder here. It's actually this is pretty close to a really interesting support level, believe it or not. So if you were going to take the really ballsy move of buying the dip off of 113, you need to have a smart stop loss in place, because it would be a very high risk, aggressive move, in my opinion, to do that. Yeah, I think you're looking probably like a 107.68 stop loss. Again, this would be like for shares. I don't know if I'd go anywhere near options on this yet, but that's just me. I'm risk adverse. I like to make money consistently, even if I miss some one-off high-paying opportunities. Not taking a bunch of L's while I'm trying to find those home runs tends to work out better for me in the long run. Yeah, I mean, your target would be somewhere up near this 122.85. I mean, so it's a good risk reward. Just be very careful with it. So I'll throw this in the chat real quick. It's not really a full plan. I'm just going to share the chart so you guys can keep those levels on watch. All right, so then we also we got through yen, UPS, INTC, YB Skater. Wanted to take a quick look at that. ER after hours today. Near key support here at 1879. I'd say if 1879 is holding, not the worst thing to maybe buy shares on. I'd stay the hell away from options today. But I wouldn't totally begrudge somebody from buying up some shares and sticking to those unless 1879 breaks, knowing that, you know, you may have to dollar cost average after the earnings report tonight. But I'd stay away from options until after earnings, especially on Intel. That's going to be very unpredictable. I think that Intel could have some potential things in the near future that could work out well for it. You know, potential, you know, I think it's going to be one of the dumbest things anybody could do if we start to put insane tariffs on importing, you know, stuff from overseas for chip makers. That would be insane because we have no capacity to do that here in the US, and ramping that up is going to take way too long for us to stay ahead in the chip race and the AI race. So yeah, I hope that doesn't ever actually come to fruition. But if it does, that could be very bullish for Intel. They could wind up turning into essentially a foundry for other companies and not, you know, producing less of their own chips and making more money producing chips for others. So potentially interesting things there. There's also been a couple of rumors of like buyouts, I think. You know, some other bigger name taking over Intel and running with it. So, but yeah, that would kind of be my approach to it. You know, go ahead and buy the dip on shares if you're willing to hold through this earnings report, unless we break below 1879 going into that earnings report, in which case I'd say stay the hell away from it. I doubt that will happen. And then see what happens after the ER. If it drops, dollar cost average. All right, and then last but not least, CLS. I know that's a few people have talked about it, up $20 pre-market. So let's take a quick look at this. Well, it just filled the gap and is already rejecting, so I don't like that. Oh, and it moved up on earning. Yeah, I'd hold off on touching this one for a few days. Let's circle back to it next week. I don't like that it's already showing pretty clean resistance on this gap fill. This could pull right back down, even though they did just have what looks like a pretty positive earnings report, not a blowout. And I'm not sure what they said on their conference call, but yeah, it's in an area of a lot of resistance. If anything, this looks like a potential, you know, short the rip opportunity. But I certainly wouldn't chase it, and I would just give it time to settle. So that's my quick take on all of those, even though I wasn't able to give you guys, you know, thorough plans on some of those tickers. We did get through a couple of new plans. So with that, we are 10 minutes from market open. I do need to go get the SPY plan written up and posted. That will be in the watch list as well as the elite chat, so keep your eyes out for that. I will try to get alerts on that ASAP as well. So I appreciate you all spending some time with me this morning. As always, I know I haven't populated the calendars yet for February, but I will get that done sometime today or tomorrow. We will have live streams next week, next Tuesday and Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So with that, I want to thank you all again for joining me. As we always say here on these FOMO live streams, plan your trades and trade your plans. Go out there and get some green. Keep your wins big. Keep your losses small. I will see you all in the chats, and I will see you back here next Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, take care. Have a great weekend.